You were never lazy, you just didn't have a reason yet. He always thought something was wrong with him. Not in a loud, tragic way, just in that quiet, heavy kind of way that lingers in your chest and makes the days feel longer than they should. Every morning, he woke up to the sound of his alarm, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince himself to move. The world outside was alive, racing, shouting, building. But inside him, there was only stillness. They called him lazy. His teachers, his friends, even the people who loved him said it with disappointment. Lazy. Unmotivated. Wasting potential. But no one ever asked why. No one ever asked what it felt like to wake up every day and feel nothing calling your name. It wasn't that he didn't want to move, it was that he had nowhere to go. He wasn't afraid of work. He wasn't allergic to effort. He just couldn't find a reason that made effort worth it. He had tried before, pushed himself into jobs, tasks, routines that promised happiness, but each one left him emptier than before. Every goal he achieved turned to dust in his hands. Every time he climbed, the view disappointed him. So, one day, he stopped trying. He didn't quit in anger, he just quietly let go. He stopped chasing what everyone else said mattered. He stayed in bed longer. He moved slower. He felt guilty about it at first. But after a while, guilt turned into numbness. One night, he couldn't sleep. The room was too quiet, too full of thoughts that didn't have answers. So he went outside. Barefoot, shirt half-buttoned, he walked through the sleeping streets. The air was cool, the moon pale against the clouds. And somewhere between the silence and the rhythm of his own footsteps, a strange thought came to him. Maybe he wasn't lazy. Maybe he just never had a reason to start. The words came like a whisper, but they felt like thunder inside him. Maybe his problem wasn't a lack of willpower, maybe it was a lack of meaning. Maybe he wasn't broken at all. Maybe he was just searching for something real. The next morning felt different. The world didn't change, but something small inside him did. For the first time in years, he was curious. Not motivated, not excited, just quietly curious. What if there was something out there that could make him feel alive again? Something worth waking up for. He started noticing things he never did before, the way the light hit his window, the smell of coffee, the sound of people laughing outside a cafe. He started to write a little, draw a little, walk a little farther each day. Not because someone told him to, but because it felt like something. And slowly, very slowly, he began to move again. He didn't find his purpose in a single moment. It came in pieces. A sentence from a book. A conversation with a stranger. The feeling of helping someone without expecting anything back. Each small spark added warmth to the ashes inside him. He began to understand that purpose isn't something you stumble upon in a flash of light. It's something that grows quietly in the corners of your life, watered by curiosity, by small acts of honesty, by doing things that feel right even when no one is watching. The more he followed that feeling, the less he needed motivation. The less he needed alarms, reminders, or guilt. He didn't have to push himself anymore, the pull was enough. people began to notice the change. The same ones who once called him lazy now asked how he managed to stay so focused, so driven. He would smile and say, "I stopped trying to be motivated. I just found something that matters." They didn't always understand. Most people don't. They think energy comes from discipline, but it doesn't. It comes from meaning. When something truly matters to you, effort stops feeling like effort. You stop counting the hours. You stop waiting for weekends. He began to wake up earlier, not because he had to, but because he wanted to see how much farther he could go. He read more. Learned more. Built more. The person who once struggled to start anything was now unstoppable, not because he changed, but because he found a reason that made change inevitable. Years later, he would look back at that younger version of himself, the one lying in bed, paralyzed by confusion and shame, and he'd wish he could tell him the truth. You were never lazy. You were just uninspired. You weren't weak. You were just waiting for something real. You didn't lack motivation. You lacked meaning. Laziness was never your enemy. It was your compass. It pointed away from everything fake. It was your body's way of saying, not this. Not here. Not for this. And when you finally find what is for you, the energy comes like floodwater. It fills every empty space. It carries you. He learned that the world is full of people calling themselves lazy when really, they're just disconnected from what matters to them. They're chasing other people's dreams, walking paths that don't fit their feet. No wonder they stumble. He learned to stop judging others the way they judged him. Because sometimes the quiet ones, the tired ones, the ones who seem stuck, they're just waiting for their reason. And when they find it, they'll move faster than anyone. He found peace not in productivity, but in purpose. He found joy not in achievement, but in alignment. He didn't need to be the best, he just needed to be real. Now, every morning, he wakes up with that same quiet stillness, but it feels different now. It's not emptiness anymore. It's calm. It's focus. It's knowing. He gets up, not because he's supposed to, but because there's something waiting to be done, something that belongs to him. He doesn't need anyone to push him. He doesn't need reminders or motivation videos. He just needs that whisper inside him that says, "Let's go." Because he knows now that laziness isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning. It's the silence before the spark. The pause before the awakening. And when the reason finally comes, when the spark finally catches fire, the same person who couldn't move will burn brighter than anyone ever imagined. You were never lazy. You were just waiting to feel alive.